Okay, there, class, we have a real quick lesson here on prime and composite numbers. So in your table of contents, go ahead and write this down, prime and composite numbers. Okay, then go to your next page after the arrays, factors, and multiples. And today is September the 5th, 2018, prime and composite numbers. Okay. And this is TEAC 5.4a. Identify, which means to tell which ones are which, identify prime and composite numbers. Okay? So really, this is pretty much a bunch of vocabulary today. So the first one is going to be, what are factor pairs? Okay, factor pairs is a pair of whole numbers that make a whole number. For example, let's take the number 24. Okay? Its factor pairs are 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. So the factor pairs for the whole number 24 are the numbers 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So then, what does that mean that prime numbers are? Prime numbers are those numbers with only one factor pair. Which would be 1 and itself. So therefore, 24 is not a prime number, right? Because how many factor pairs did 24 have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 24 is not a prime number. So what are some examples of prime numbers? Well, how about 13? 1 times 13. That's the only way you can make 13. How about 3? 1 times 3. And also 7. 1 times 7. Those are prime numbers. They only have one factor pair, 1 and itself. So our next thing that we need to identify are the composite numbers. Okay, composite numbers are those numbers that have more than one factor pair. So 24, of course, is a composite number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 factor pairs makes 24 a composite number. Well, here are some more examples of composite numbers. Okay. 6 has 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. 9, 1 times 9, and 3 times 3. Now notice that 9 is an odd number. Remember what I told you yesterday. Just because it's odd does not mean it's prime. 9 is an odd number that is composite. It has more than one factor pair. Okay, let's move on. 10, 1 times 10, and 2 times 5. How about 12? 1 times 12, 2 times 6, oh, and 3 times 4. So 12 has 3 factor pairs. Okay, now I'm going to throw another odd number here for you. Okay, how about 15? It's odd, but it's composite. 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. Okay, so composite numbers have more than one factor pair. 6 has 2, 9 has 2, 10 has 2, 12 has 3, and 15 has 2. Okay, let's talk a little bit about square numbers. Okay, square numbers are the product of a number times itself. Okay, so let's see. 4 is a square number because it is the product of 2 times 2. 16 is a square number because it is the product of 4 times 4. 9 is a square number because it is the product of 3 times 3. And 100 is a square number because it is the product of 10 times 10. And we can also write that 2 squared, 4 squared, 3 squared, and 10 squared. Are you able to think of any other square numbers? Okay, we'll have this ready for class tomorrow.